right. Hello, Mariah.
Hello.
Is your camera off for a reason? Ah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to assume, I know that Susan said she was going to be going for the night, and I'm guessing Norma probably did too, unless she pops in later. But anyway, just again, just for the YouTube viewers, I am Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. This is part 2 of the energy about Taurus, where it sits in each person's chart in the house, and what does it mean for this for each individual. So we're going to go right into Linda, since we've already done Nick's. So Linda, what's your birth? What's the month of your birthday? Linda, your mic is off.
May.
May. Ah, we have another May. May what?
May 19th.
Ah, so you're a Gemini also.
No, Taurus.
Oh, you're a Taurus. Taurus.
I am a Taurus.
Yes, you're a Taurus. So everything that Susan was talking about regarding her sister has a reflection on you.
Oh.
Yes. Well, to some degree, except as I was saying to with Nick in reference that he's in his 12th house energy. Well, you're in your first house energy because you're born in the month of Taurus, and first house energy is all about, as I mentioned to him before, when he gets into that next one for him, it's all about, it's your rebirth, it's your new beginning, it's all about you. It's all about you. It's about your appearance. It's about first impressions. So when you, it's going to be very important. But when you do anything, first impressions are very important for you right now because of this energy. So you want to make sure you're leaving, as they would always say, like when you meet somebody for the first time, that first impression is extra special right now for you. Okay.
Okay.
And also it's about leadership. So it's a leadership role, and it's interesting that if I remember correctly, for you, I think it was the end of last week or this weekend rather, you just started doing your live videos.
Yes.
Yes, that plays a role in that Taurus energy.
Okay.
Because as being someone that's giving live videos, that means you're a leader. You're leading something.
Okay.
And as I mentioned earlier, in regards to when we're intuitive, when we are sensitive individuals, which we all are, we tend to feel the energy come in before it gets here. So we feel it like a week beforehand. So that's your leadership role. There's going to be a lot of fresh starts and new beginnings coming in because, as mentioned, this is your first house. This is your rebirth month. You are being reborn. You are literally coming back out, you know, and becoming this new person. And ironically, I think it's so interesting because this is happening in this time where, as Nick pointed out before, where energetically we're all starting to feel like there's something ready to shift with this energy that we're all in right now with the quarantine.
Yes.
And more so for you because it's your birthday month. So if Nick is feeling this and he's a Gemini, you might be feeling it even more so because it's actually, that's your energy you're in. It's all about new beginnings, new opportunities. I know when it's my birthday month, I always feel like everything is so fresh, and it gives me the opportunity to like start over.
Okay.
And that's really where you are in your chart with Taurus being in your first house. And it refers to, let's see, it's ruled by Aries because Aries is the actual first sign of the astrological sign.
Okay.
So it's ruled by Aries energy. Aries energy is a fire energy, where Taurus energy is earth.
All right.
So as a Taurus in the first house, and it's your month, you're very grounded. You're going to seem very grounded as you're moving into this energy.
Okay.
Very centered, very focused as you move into this energy. And just also recognizing that, again, as Taurus energy, it's really about, you're going to have moments where you feel lazy. And then you're going to have moments where you're going to just want to like do everything. and you're going to dance between that.
Mm.
So that's interesting energy in reference to Taurus being in the first house. Nice.
Mm.
Any questions regarding that?
And there's 12 houses, you said, right?
Yes, there's 12 houses, as there are 12 astrological signs.
Okay.
Yes. So because your actual astrological sign is Taurus, which is the actual energy that we are in, which makes it your first house.
I see. Okay.
Where when we were in Aries energy, you were in your 12th house. So you were where Nick is now.
Okay.
Yes. But you're now in your first house. So it's again, newness. And just to like throw a little numerology into this for the sake of playing, because it is your birthday month. When you think about your birthday, and I might have to write this down a second. Your birthday is what again?
May 19th.
May 19th. Give me a second to do some math here. Ah, interesting. I love it. So jumping from astrology to numerology, and you're going to get to see the similarities here. Your personal energy in numerology is an actual 10, which is a 1.
Right.
So
okay.
when you think about the astrology information, where your house is in your first house, which is all about new beginnings, new opportunities, and self-expression, who you are, the whole concept of first impressions, it's
right.
in numerology. In numerology, it's all about the leadership, your new opportunities, the rebirth that you are undergoing. Okay, now in numerology, the numbers only go from 1 to 9, where astrology goes from 1 to 12.
Okay.
Okay, but the energy is very similar. Okay, does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yes. And Nick, just to bounce back to you a second regarding the numerology information. What's your birthday again, Nick?
May 30th.
May 30th. Sorry if I end up asking the same questions. All right. Just so we do know, it doesn't correspond the same way. Because in numerology for you, it's all about creating and communicating. Whereas with you before, it was all about the endings, because you're in that 12th house segment. So it's not the exact same thing as when we're in the first house energy in regards to the birthdays. And that changes also on dates too. Yeah, because again, he's born May 30th, and he's a Gemini.
Okay.
And you're born May 19th, so you're a Taurus.
I'm a Taurus.
Okay? Yes. So the Taurus is actually the energy we're actually in, and also the first house energy that you're in. Whereas for him, it doesn't correspond the same way, because he's based on that information.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense? Yes. Mariah, you still with me?
I am.
Okay. She's hiding behind the scenes. Can we see your pretty face?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Mariah, when's your birthday, my love?
January 31st.
Ah, so you're a Aquarius. So you were pretty much the same reading as Susan was. I don't know if you were listening, but I'm going to go over it again. So Aquarius energy, you are in your 1, 2, 3, 4. You're in your 4th house, which is all about Cancer energy, because it's ruled by Cancer. And it's all about your family. It's all about being at home. It's also about privacy. In this time, it's going to be very important for you to keep things private. You don't want to let everything all out. You know, basic security. Your parents, specifically your mother. And I always find these things to be so interesting, because as of now, anyway, most of the people who I do these readings with, I know personally. So I know more of the backstory of everyone. So it makes sense to me why, I mean, in reference to you being in your 4th house and the relationship you have with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It also entails children and your own mothering habits that you have, your own mothering abilities that you do have, and your nurturing side. A lot of TLC in this energy for you this month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Any questions on that?
No.
No? And just out of curiosity, again, give me your birthday.
January 31st.
Thank you. Be nice if my brain can remember it all. All right, so in numerology, based on your birthday, you're in a personal 9 energy. And what that actually means, which is going to sound really funny, even though in astrology you're in your 4th house, which is all about family and home, in numerology you're in your 9th energy, which is this is your year, your personal energy. Now, before I go into that, just to make a note, the energy with the Taurus is specifically for this month. The personal information that I'm sharing based on numerology, that's for the entire year.
Okay.
When I shared that, especially with you, Linda, just so you do know that was the entire year's energy, as opposed to when we're speaking about the Taurus energy in the month. I don't want us to get confused. So personally for you, Mariah, you're in your 9 personal energy year, which this is your year for transformation. This is your year where things are going to come to an end, so you can have a new beginning. This is also your year for decluttering things that no longer serve you. And interesting, as I think I said this to Nick before, in reference to his 12th house, it's interesting on how, and even for Linda, because she's in her 1st house, it's interesting on how this transformation is taking place in this energy this year right now with all that's going on with the coronavirus. Where you're letting go of things that no longer serve you. So in this space of being still and quiet, it's giving you this opportunity to really go on a soul deep level of letting things go that don't serve you anymore. So in reference, like when we spoke privately a couple of weeks ago about certain things that are going on in your personal life, makes sense to why that's not happening anymore. It doesn't serve you. Does that make sense?
It does.
And I always find it to be intriguing regarding astrology and numerology on how everything really has a connection to what's going on with us collectively. Make sense? Does that make sense for everybody else? Based on just the collective energy, not in reference to her actual sign regarding the house. Yes. Anyone have any questions regarding what we just spoke about? Okay, you have to turn on your mics.
Could you repeat it again? Because you came in, the one you just talked about. You said it was collective for everybody.
Okay, yes. In reference to when we speak about all that's going on in the world.
Yes.
The coronavirus.
Yes.
And in reference to how every one of us are experiencing some sort of transformation. Things that we are quote unquote being forced to let go of. And I would even sit back and say a lot of the things that we're being forced to let go of is the patterns that we've had, the habits that we've endured, and even the patterns, habits, and beliefs that we have. Those are things that literally we're decluttering that because it no longer serves who we are on an individual level. Because most of the time when we think about our patterns, habits, and beliefs, especially beliefs and habits, I truly believe we develop those when we're little, especially our beliefs. We're sort of like born into beliefs, and they may not really serve us as we get older, where it's like, okay, well, maybe we don't believe in what our parents believed in, but we've taken on that energy because of them applying it into our life. So when we get to a certain age in our lives, we start to realize this doesn't really serve me. So here we are in this opportunity with the coronavirus this opportunity of being still and quiet where we get to decide, you know what? This pattern that I used to do doesn't work. This habit that I'm used to doesn't work. And the beliefs that I'm used to doesn't work. I get to redefine all of that again based on my terms now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, we're all adults, so we don't
Right.
have to really necessarily listen to our parents anymore in reference to, them saying, well, it's Easter Sunday. You're supposed to be home for Easter Sunday. Although I'm sure, based on what we've experienced for this holiday, we may really want to be home next holiday.
No.
Because again, when we think about the belief system, it's also in reference to the things we've taken for granted in the past. And that with this holiday season that we've just experienced, where we weren't able to enjoy it the way we're used to, it gives us that opportunity to really understand and respect it more. So we may be more likely to say, you know what? I want to go home for Easter. I want to spend time with my family. I want to go to church.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard this a lot about the holidays coming up in the end of the year holidays, the Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fear over whether or not this will become a problem again, because people really want to get together for those holidays this year.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a lot of concern over that. And,
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely heard a lot more of that than I've ever heard before.
Yes,
Yes. Wow.
Mm-hmm. But I think the bigger picture is that once we get past the fear, and I'm gonna step in just a little deeper here for a second and say, let's just get past the year, and let's move into, let's say, 2021. By that period of time, even maybe 2022, we may be in a more spacious space of saying gratitude. We're grateful to be able to spend time with family, and we're grateful to do these family beliefs that we might have sort of said, don't like that. Where now we have a different point of view to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the space that we are in the COVID-19 and the quarantine and the stillness and quiet, it's going to open us up on a deeper level to realize that all these things that we might have taken for granted or didn't really like, we might appreciate them more. And we may really want to indulge in it more, where, yes, we might have new beliefs and habits and patterns, but we may also endure in some of the old ones too and have a different appreciation for it. And I think that makes a big difference, because once we have a different appreciation for it, it now becomes our own belief system, because we have a different appreciation towards it, because we're now putting our own spin of energy into it. We're not being told anymore. Now we're doing it voluntarily. We want to. And I think that makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So now when we think about going back and just, just tying this all up, bring all the loose ends together, as Nick is doing this month. In regards to when we talk about the houses that each sign sits in, understand that these houses change every month.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, as we said, for you, Linda, you're sitting in your first house. For Nick, you're sitting in your 12th house. For Mariah, she's sitting in her 4th house. When we move out of Taurus and we move into Gemini energy, that's all going to change.
Okay.
Where once we move into Gemini, Nick will be in his first house.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to cheat again. My astrologer is not going to be too happy about this. Linda, you're May, so you will be moving into your second house, which will actually be May in Gemini energy. Okay, and Gemini energy, which is the third house. I'm sorry, you'll be moving into your second house, because you're in your first house now, and second house is all about relating to your intimate, material, and physical environment. So that would be when you're moving into the second house, which will be next month. And my whole reason why I'm bringing this up is just to let you guys know that their houses change every month.
Yes.
Numerology, our personal energy stays the entire year.
Wow.
Okay, so when we're dealing with the personal energy and numerology, the energy that you're in based on your one energy, that's for the entire year until December ends. Now, again, as I've said before, intuitively speaking, those of us who are sensitive, we start to feel energy shifts take place sooner than they actually take place. And I'll do a whole class one day on numerology in reference to really getting the understanding of the numbers and how they play a role based on your personal energy, your life purpose, your achievement to why you're here on Earth. We'll have a whole class on that one day, and that's a whole we could probably do a 6-week course on that. But for anyone who's interested, we can definitely talk on that. But just getting the basic understanding to our houses, they change every month based on how the astrological sign changes. So right now we're in Taurus energy. And out of all of us, Linda, you feel this energy more so than Nick does, than I do, and Mariah does. And for that matter, Susan and Norma, because you are actually in the energy that we are in. Okay? So you're going to feel this more so than all of us. Now, if I had somebody here in the group who was a Taurus rising sign, then they would actually feel that more than you would. Because the rising signs are more, I'm going to use the word more dominating than the sun sign is. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
So even though every one of us may not necessarily have Taurus in the chart per se, we're still feeling the energy of Taurus anyway, collectively. And reminding ourselves that Taurus is an earth sign. So it's a very grounded sign. And sometimes can feel so grounded that we feel stuck. So that's important to remember. And there's just so much information in regards to astrology. We could probably have a 12-week course on all the different stages to astrology, from the houses to the opposition signs, what those all mean, and how that all plays in a role. And just for the sake of confusing me, because I like to do that to myself. And I think I said this to Susan when she spoke about it. For you, Linda, because your actual sign is Taurus, your opposition sign is Scorpio. So when we have this full moon that's coming in in roughly a week and a half, that Scorpio energy is going to play a huge role with you, specifically you, because of your Taurus sign. We'll feel the full moon's energy, but we're not going to feel it the same way you would. Make sense?
Does.
And she's got this face on like, really? Do I need to go sit under the covers? No, because theoretically, this is a very powerful month for you because it's your birthday month. It's your rebirth month. This is really where you're going to come alive. This is where you're going to come alive. This is where you're going to activate all the things you wish to create because this is your birthday month. I always found birthday months to be the most powerful month there is because it's your time to really shine. It's your time to like step into who you are.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yes. So enjoy your birthday month.
Thank you.
Yeah, just enjoy it. And then, of course, Nick, when you get to the end of the month, you'll get to enjoy your birthday month. You're May 31st, you said?
30th.
30th, yeah. So theoretically, it is your birthday month, just that different sign.
Yeah, it's weird because my birthday always falls on or around Memorial Day weekend. That the whole month of May doesn't feel like my birthday. It feels like my birthday month is like Memorial Day weekend to like Father's Day. Like it's the Gemini month.
Yes.
I don't know if that's an end of the month thing. Maybe Mariah has the same problem with January, but that's I never feel like.
Maybe we can get her attention and get her to take your mic off.
And I never feel like May is actually my month because my birthday falls so late in the month that I feel more connected to June almost.
Yes. Yeah, because theoretically speaking, I mean, because your birthday is like literally a day before June starts.
Yeah.
Or is there
2 days.
31 days in May or 30?
31. I'm May 30th. My childhood best friend was June 1st. We were born like 38 hours apart on the same year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I always connected my birthday to hers, and always ended up having it. This like if we had a mutual party because she grew up 2 doors down. We had it on her birthday on June 1st. So I've always felt connected to it.
Yeah. So I want to ask Mariah that same question. Mariah, being that your birthday is at the end of January, do you feel the same way that Nick feels regarding your birthday because it's at the end?
No.
No, you don't feel that way?
Mm. But that's also because I don't know too many people who share a birthday within the same weeks of me.
Okay, so you don't feel like because your birthday is January 31st that it's so close to February that you're just not?
No.
It might be seasonal for me because May, seasonally is a changing month. January isn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
May 1st and May 31st feel like two different seasons.
Mm.
And once I was
Yeah.
in college,
I see it.
There's a lot of seasonal reasons why for me I feel more connected to the summer than I do.
Yes. So it's interesting because tonight, let's see. Let me see if I can remember. We had Susan, who's an Aquarius. Mariah, who's an Aquarius. But Susan's she's February 6th.
Okay.
And Mariah's Aquarius, and she's January 31st, right?
Mhm.
And then we have Linda, who's a Taurus. And then we have Nick, who's a Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
And let's throw me in the mix. Oh, let's not forget about Norma. Norma, who's a Capricorn. So Norma is January, I think Norma's January 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. She might actually be I think she's January 4th. So she's the beginning of January, where we have Mariah, who's the end of January. And then we have Linda, who is in the middle of May. And then we have Nick at the end of May. So it's quite interesting. And then we won't forget the mix of me, where I'm a Pisces. And just so you know where I stand in my house, which will make sense to why I'm doing what I'm doing tonight. My house is all about the third house, which is all about communication. It's all about talking, thinking, gadgets, devices, phones, pages, instant messenger. It's also about covering, discussing siblings. I've been talking to my sisters like crazy, neighborhoods, local travel, libraries, schools, teachers, community affairs, and it's ruled by Gemini. And I don't know, Nick, if you knew this, but Gemini, besides it being ruled by Gemini, the planet that Gemini is ruled by is Mercury. Yeah. So makes sense to why I've chosen to want to do all this communication within the last give and take week or two.
Okay.
Is because I've moved into this Taurus energy. I don't know what happened to Aries energy, but somewhere along the line, I think I skipped it in the first house energy. So yeah. So there's what we have. So is each and every one of you leaving with some insight that you didn't know before?
A lot of insight, yeah.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Like I said, I'll let you know in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, well yeah. It's gonna definitely take your 3-week period to see how things actually do fall into place. Like I myself see it right away for myself because I'm so in tune with how the energy shifts. Like I'll always say to my astrologer, why is it that I'm feeling X, Y, and Z? And then when he gives me my report, so to speak, it makes sense. I'm like, oh, that's why I'm feeling this way. Like that's why. So I always say to myself, anytime I get into a moody space, or I'm just more emotional than normal, I always blame it on the planets. I'm like, all right, so which planet is causing me to feel this way? And 90% of the time, it is because of the planet, or there's a astrological shift. And because now I'm so familiar with the astrological shifts, I right away know that, you know, it's not necessarily that, but definitely the planets. And there's a lot of shifting going on with our planets too. We'll have a conversation about that and how the planets play a role with each astrological sign too. But that's going to take a little while because I'm not there in reference to really understanding that part. Remember, I am the student of astrology. As I'm the student of astrology, how I learn is through teaching. And that's what I'm here doing tonight.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank all of you for being here and allowing me to have this opportunity to dabble into what I'm learning. And hopefully I came across and gave you the insight with as much information as possible, and I didn't make you confused, and that you've all walked away with something. So I guess I will see all of us back here at 11:11 for our 11 minutes of meditation, if we're going to be awake.
Yes.
So with that being said, let me just end the conclusion for our YouTube viewers. So again, we are going to be concluding tonight's video of our 40-minute segment, part 2 of the Taurus energy, what it means for you, what house it falls in, and just utilizing this information to help you, I'd like to say help you navigate, so you have a better understanding to why things are going on, why you're feeling a certain kind of way, and just being able to use this information to help you, because I always find it to be really helpful to have a guide. So with that being said, have yourself an awesome night or day wherever everybody is. Until next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.